You can take that fake apology and shove it right up your hairy...
Is my car squat?
Somewhere 20 minutes away from a university in Melbourne, it's Will Dawson!
Hello.
Yay! Thanks, guys.
NASCAR!
Alright,
It's a bit delayed, but we got there.
Mr. 7th place here in the top 8. What were you playing today?
I was playing Purple Good Stuff slash Merva Half and Half slash Merva Loop slash
He
Lilith
doesn't wanna
Loop
call it
slash Loop slash I don't know, man. Tessero.
Alright, so...
Tessero.deck.
Yeah, Tessero. Yeah. It may as well be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
2.0.
I mean, anything you want to get into before we start looking at what you've cooked up?
no, let's just jump in and I'll do the rest at the end.
Yep, easy enough.
So to start, I know this isn't Alex.
Doing it the wrong way!
This is not my first deck profile.
It might be Alex's.
Look, only one of us has been...
No,
like,
I did the BRK locals one that never got uploaded.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, you also have that one Yu-Gi-Oh one.
Yeah, there's 3 Yu-Gi-Oh ones.
2.
Whatever.
Anyway, we start with the eggs for Demimera because it is just the only valid purple egg to play in a deck that wants to win.
100%.
Then moving on to the rookies, we've got 4 Gabu, because drawing 2 and discarding 1 is a really strong inheritable effect, especially pairs well with Scatter and other level 4s you play in the deck. You want to play this at 4 because it's the best possible one to open. You want it under every stack you make, whether it's a level 4 or eventually into a Cerberus.
Yep.
Then we have the 3 Ignites. We're playing this mostly because we're playing Merva, as I said before. It's just kind of incredible. It does everything. The swing came a bunch today. Like I summoned it off Merva, swing, pop Lilith or Merva or something to kill a black or grey stack that they assumed was safe because it was protected from options.
Easy.
That happened twice in Top Cut. The inheritable to gain memory. If a Merva lives, or if you have this under like a Cerberus stack and you play Dead or Alive, you can just get free memory off it. This card is just absolutely broken in the deck.
Absolutely cooked.
Then we move on to some floodgates. We have 2 Gazis. A lot of really niche memory gain effects can come up. If you're into Black or Grey, you have to worry about Gravity Crush or Memory Boost. If you run into like Bloom Lord or any sort of every deck has one way to gain memory. So having this available to play or to summon off Merva comes up a lot. Then we move on to 1 Psych. I was sort of playing this because I expected a lot more Cross Heart, but really it helped me the most in the mirror and from preventing Death X. I played a purple deck. So I guess technically the mirror we had 40 of the same cards, but the decks function completely differently. But stopping his Death X from coming down was the deciding factor, and I think that game let me get to Top Cut. So we'll move on to the last rookie, which is Demi Devi. This is
little boy.
Yeah, this is another target for Merva. It's also 3 costs, so you can play it from hand as a pseudo rush for game. That came up a couple of times, and I think you had that a couple of times as well.
Yeah, it was really good. I think it got 4 wins for me. 4 swings per game.
And it's also just another rookie, so opening it just makes I had plenty of hands today where this was my only rookie. So if this was originally it was a creepy or something, and if that had been the case, I just would have had far worse opening hands. Moving on to the 4s, we play of course 4 Scatter because this is the single best purple card in the game.
Nice card.
This goes into I think almost every purple deck except maybe Beals, but actually no, Beals probably plays it as well. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. I didn't look at the top 32 days.
Just wait for the structure deck, boys.
Absolutely.
I think Math Day is the one deck that doesn't play Eyes Must Cabinet as much.
It's yellow.
But they did play it when Eismon was at 4. So they did play this until it got slightly worse.
Yes, I played that on my Master. This card's followed closely by the second best card in purple.
Yeah, well, so just to go on this a bit longer, opening this and Gabu is basically a free win in any matchup.
It's so
the
good.
absolute god hand until it doesn't die, and it gets
quite presumptuous.
Jamming. But what's the likelihood of that happening?
Yeah.
Anyone's
About
played
50%.
this?
I saw it 3 times with it. I lost that game.
This should just have jamming written on it in fucking
It
invisible
literally,
ink.
it stops being a joke when this dies less often than Cerberus at 6k swinging into security. A note about this that I feel is pretty important is a lot of the time, especially in the Black Org, because they have the level 5 D Digivolve, you would end up I'd end up playing this hard from hand, especially going second. If they give me 2 memory, I'd put a rookie in raising, preferably Ignite in this scenario, but a Garbo or whatever, and just slam this to give them 2 memory, so they can't de-digivolve it. Because having them de-digivolve this when it's got Garbo under it and you lose both effects is probably the worst feeling. It's the same as in BC7 when like it would get bounced by Blue Hybrid or something, and you would just lose all the effects. So
You actually play around this time.
yeah, exactly. So like they're still going to have to delete it if you hard play it. So that's something that came up a lot. I did that almost every time I burst a Black or Grey player. But then, as Declan alluded to, we had the best purple card, or the second best purple card, Eismon.
The one eyes.
The one eyes, because it's limited. I'm so sad that happened, but Bandai's Bandai.
Now it's
Yeah.
the second best.
Yeah, so this card is just super flexible. You can, play it when a Dark Lizard, which shockingly is the next card, or one of the next cards.
Dark Lizard.
When, we block with that during your opponent's turn, or if they pop like a scatter, you can summon it during your turn and evolve it into Promote or a Cerberus to keep going. You can even use it for something I'll reveal a bit later. It comes up a lot. It's obviously super good to get a free body. Hell, even like a couple of games I won because I just summoned it off something to then like pop with Deathclaw or pop with Calling. Or,
The
or
time
not
that if
Calling,
they
but
kill something
Deathclaw.
with their like end of turn effect, like a Black or Grey X, or
Yeah.
like they swung at something with a Metal Grey into the Gaio or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you're doing that at the end of the turn when they can't do shit.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this card just comes out, like, it's actually quite a skill to know when you can safely summon this and they won't punish it. Because using this resource when it's going to immediately be removed will punish you really heavily. But if you can, get that extra swing in from it, it can really let you just set up for lethals that are otherwise pretty viable.
Timing is the incredible.
Timing is
Fun.
scatter
Yeah.
trash.
And yes, make sure you have a scatter and trash. That happened to me round 8. Luckily, I think I drew that game. Admittedly, the game I did that, I threw pretty heavily, 6 other ways. So I kind of didn't deserve to win the game anyway. But I drew that, and then didn't stop me from getting into top. So the next we have the Gink package. We play one of each, just for space requirements. Didn't actually hurt that much. I felt like I was finding it pretty consistently anyway. Sometimes, a couple of games this was insecurity. I still kill them just because it's not the only rush you have anymore. You don't have to rely on it as much, which is why it's okay to play these at 1. But just being able to make a Merva cost 6 and then effectively 5 if it doesn't pass turn comes up a lot. I think in Top Cut I ended up summoning this and a Dark Lizard off of Merva just to choke them to 1 so they couldn't take any actions. Then we got the 3 Dark Lizards.
Lizard.
Yeah, so I prefer that when it was Dark Reza. I keep going to say it. So if I slip up, oh well.
Wait, no, I thought this actually was still Dark Resumon. What the fuck?
No, it's Dark Lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bandai inconsistent translation strikes again.
Yep. Woo! So anyway, this card is just absolutely nuts. Retaliations, you can evolve it and then swing into something that's tapped. Or if you bring it off Merva, you can swing it into something that's tapped. Or it gets blocker from Merva. It's half a scatter, kinda, so it draws a card, and especially if you have Garbo under it, you're still drawing 4, discarding 3. It's really good for digging through the deck. Just having additional level 4s that draw cards is just cracked.
Solmon's pointless.
Sorry?
Solmon.
Yeah, I wouldn't play Solomon in this kind of list because you really need to set up the trash. You really need to be digging for pieces. Solomon comes up exclusively to get around really niche stuff. Like, I first a Jesmon player, and I was like, man, if I had Solomon, I'd be able to get out of the Bauhuck range. That is not a common occurrence, so I don't think it's worth building around. But it is something worth note that it might be relevant, especially in local metas, when you know that there's a couple of people playing stuff. You can also, the Metal Grey X, the 6k breakpoint for that, you can get around. But for the most part, it just doesn't matter.
You still don't get around it. It puts it to 6k.
You need like 2 slow
Well, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
You would have to have 2.
So just one ball.
Yeah, it's just bad. Just play the one that draws you a card. It
Smart.
seems pretty obvious. 3 Cerberus. We play a smaller Cerb package than I'm used to, just because we have quite a heavy low end. And the heavy low end is just because we're playing like a combo slash aggro deck, you can kind of have to look at your hands and work out what playstyle it wants for you to play. Like sometimes you'll just open a perfect serve line, you'll be like, sweet. Other times you'll open, Dark Reezers and Scatters and Rookies, and you'll be like, cool, guess I'm just going Unga Bunga. And the deck is super flexible, and it allows you to swap between the two playstyles. So you can start with 2 Scatters or something, and then you'll draw a perfect line, and you go, cool, I'll just set up for the Cerberus play, go into Lilith, go into all the other stuff, and Jack Raid, swing for game. And sometimes it was just like, I'm just going to slam them over every turn until I kill my opponent by swinging at their face with my 3 cards that I now have every turn, and they just can't deal with it. And so obviously, the other half of the Serb package, I just realized I didn't actually talk about Serb. Serb's just nice.
He's neat.
He's a good boy.
Good dog. I ended up swinging with him a lot today. I just got really greedy because, it is a lot more aggressive than most loop variants. The loop is almost a backup plan. So I was swinging with this all day. It really helped when I had Analog Boy in the back. I'd swing this. It would die, but I just would make another one because I have drawn enough to see another piece, or another line. And so I just got a free chip in and a lot of the card draw. The other half obviously being the werewolf. It's werewolf. It just enables so much shenanigans in this deck.
Big 2.
Yeah, so as long as you don't open this in a hand in top cut, you'll be fine.
This rewards creativity. This deck rewards creativity as a general.
Yeah.
Because there is no one line. There is literally a billion.
Yeah.
So just go for your life.
Yeah, you definitely get rewarded for playing this deck a lot because you'll start seeing routes of play that are super anti-typical but come up in really niche situations.
Imagine if we played it for more than 4 days.
Yeah. Dude,
I agree.
I legitimately was making twice as many mistakes at the beginning of day 1 that I was at the end of day 2. I learned so much playing this at Nationals, during Nationals, that I was just making better plays by the end of it. The amount you can learn from this deck is crazy. And I've been playing basically a version of this since BC6. So it's just a deck that you can never, I think, hit the cap, hit the ceiling. But yeah, you can summon this off DOA. You can summon this from hand. Triggers Analog Boys. It's just a really neat card. It even at worst, you can evolve this on a 4 that doesn't have rush to give it rush and swing for game. I did that I think once this weekend. So
It's a 9k dude.
And that's a
yeah.
9K dude.
Oh yeah, and it also has the really nice breakpoint of punching over every metal grade.
True.
So multiple times my opponents would just swing over a scatter and then evolve and pass, and I'd be like, cool, werewolf, swing over your 5 level 5, and yeah, I just don't understand what they were thinking, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Maybe they forgot about a card exists.
A for gore.
I mean, look, I can't blame them for not knowing what this deck does. It's not like it was fucking expected.
Yeah.
Chimera. This was a really interesting tech recommended to me by Tessero, who was helping create this list. He basically said it was really funny because it kept killing memory blocking floodgates, so Gazis and Terriermons and stuff. And also, occasionally you'll just give a lethal. If you summon an Eismon that doesn't have rush and a Dark Lizard survives, you can just DNA for Chimera, swing for game. I think that's how I beat Maste in top 16. So it just comes up. It's just really nice. Just never evolve it in raising because I threw games doing that in testing. I never did it in practice, thank God.
We learn.
Yeah, and it's just a super cool card.
Huh.
Moving on to the 6s, we have 2 Lilith. This is
Nice.
just for loop shenanigans. The card is absolutely insane. Adding back double Jack Raid, adding back a calling, adding back a DOA. It's just really flexible. Even I added back calling a couple of times. Claw a couple of times just to kill stuff. You can just choose your own path with this card, and then it just makes everything free. And
Well, you're playing around Black or Grey X as well because
Yeah.
Merva costs 11. Keeping this around, swing with the Merva, and then popping the Lilith to get rid of something, and then them still not being able to redirect your Dark Lizards as well. It came up a whole bunch for me. I don't know for you. But
it definitely came up as to stop Hades Force is what he's saying.
Yeah.
So it definitely came up a lot in the regards that I could play a lot more aggressively because I had this on the field. But honestly, it was just an enabler for Merva. It was just I played this card I add back double Jack Raid. I play Jack Raid for 2, Jack Raid for 2, Jack Raid for 2. Double Jack Raid, and then this gives me 2 memory as well. So as long as I had 1 or more memory when I went into it, I just gain the memory back and then play a Merva. That's all it needs to do. It's just absolutely insane.
Just be a little cooked.
Then we have the star of the deck, 3 Merva. This card, it gives you board presence. It's a defensive card. It's removal if it needs to be by summoning back Ignite if you don't pass turn. You don't even have to bring back Retaliation. I played I think Into the Master Player game 1. I just had the Gink packaging trash and a scatter, so I just went, okay, I will play a Merva, and I will just play scatter. I will play Gink. I will I'll choke you to 1, I'll get a bunch of memory, and I'll set up for a bunch of card draw next turn. So it's just super versatile. And this card saves loop. Like, this deck would not be viable without this card and without Ignite.
It gives the defensive presence that loop didn't have before.
Yeah, you can be at 0 security now, and you're fine, because you just summon back 2 blockers. Or 3 with Merva as well. You can do some fancy stuff with it. You can put Merva under a Merva to Digicross. That comes up a lot in Black or Grey, where they'll de-digivolve it to try and get rid of it. They can't just straight up kill this without Hades Force, and a lot of people were only playing 2 Hades Force, so it was not uncommon that they wouldn't have it. Doing that, you miss out on the memory from Ignite, but you don't have to worry about that memory if they've already got a stack. If they're going for lethal, then they don't they have Hades or they don't win. It's sort of all that matters. I don't know. It's just. It's just utility. It's basically a Zwart that you can hard play, and it gives you 3 swings instead of 2, and the swings aren't conditional.
Easy enough.
So moving on, we have the 7s. We play 1 Avenge Kid.
That's not a 7.
Moving on to the non-curve part of the deck.
Okay.
We have the Avenge Kid. So the Avenge Kid only really came up once. I think I may have used it in a random match to kill something AKLS, but it came up a lot into the security control matchup where I would just summon it to not deck out, because I'd loop, draw my entire deck, discard a bunch of cards, and then swing at security, not kill them because they're security control, and then just put this so I return all my Jack Raids, return all my callings and stuff, and just next turn I would just draw 4 callings into 4 Jack Raids into a calling, into a DOA, and I just have so much utility, so many cards I could do things with at that point that I could do whatever I wanted. So security control matchup for this deck is great. I think if you play it correctly, you can't lose. I did lose because I didn't play it correctly. But only the first game. I swung Psych, it didn't die, and then I tried to summon Merva, realized, as I was playing it, was it'll put you to 3, and then that passed turn, and he swung over a Dark Reza. I drew my final card and lost it while I had this in hand. So that was oops, don't do that. Moving on, we have Zwart. This is a level 7. This card sucks. This shouldn't be in the deck. This was a mistake. I did not use it once this weekend. In testing, it was great in theory, because you would go Lilith into Zwart, summon back 2 guys that could swing, and the Zwart would be the biggest DP on the field, so it can't be redirected by Black or Grey X.
That happened to me.
In practice, if they've gone into Black or Grey X, you've probably already won. And if they've gone into that and you haven't already won, then you can just set up, you've probably got them low enough that they have to redirect. They can't redirect the Merva because you're swinging with the lower stuff anyway. And if you have to swing with the Merva for game, you can just set up defensively, and they're not going to be able to do anything to you anyway because you'll still have retail blockers.
Yep.
I think this card would improve a lot if we did run a second promote. But we chose not to.
With only 3 werewolves and 1 DOA, you didn't have the access to werewolf that you would need for this card to really pop off. Last format I was playing Loop with 4 werewolves, and that made this a lot better. Also, Merva didn't exist, but this was a lot better just because you would have a werewolf in hand far more often. I don't know what I'd replace it with. Probably the first things to come to mind is either another analog, another Lilith seems alright. I don't know. It needs so much testing. I think maybe more removal or another Slinger or something could also come up.
Calling.
Yeah, second calling.
Second calling.
Yeah.
3 more eyes ones.
But yeah, I would not play this card again. Death X was crazy. This card was just insane. If your opponent was playing Black Warg and had Yuya, Triple Cool Boy, and a couple of level 5s, which happened once, felt really great to play this card. But also, I played against 7 different decks day one, and let's say it was like Crossheart, which this is crazy. Merva, which is just crazy. What else? Like, it's
Yeah, I
good
couldn't
in,
play against Chess One. It was not that matchup.
yeah, it's good into. Oh yeah, I played against Chess One as well. Good in that matchup. Yeah, it's good against Blue Flare. It's good against Bloom. It has so many utilities,
One.
and this format is so much more versatile than I expected. I was expecting nothing but Black Hole Grant, and I still thought this card would be worth a slot. It really paid dividends.
Still is.
I would not play this deck without this.
It's good going like against Black Hole Array when they have like an old Omni S on field. Like if you have them ready to evolve into the Death Vest and get rid of that like attack stop, give you those final attacks that you need.
Yeah, you can definitely use
Need
like
to evolve,
evolving it for 6, especially if you have a Lilith and you can actually like add double Jack Raid and then go to 6 memory guaranteed. Go into this, or sometimes 8 if you have 30 in trash. Going into this, and yeah, you can get out of a bunch of situations like even Black or Grey X, or like you said, the Omni. So that card is just absolutely crazy, and recycling it with like calling and stuff as well. It's just
100%.
cooked. So we've got options for Jack Raid, non-negotiable. This card is crazy.
You learned your lesson from last Nats.
But I heard Purple Man was
Apparently.
better.
Jeez, please don't.
We don't need that hot takeover.
Like, no other card in the game lets you gain so much memory and have such a long turn.
Especially
for
from
free.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can just be at 1 memory. You go Jack Raid, I'm at 3. I can now play the game. Or like, the amount of times where I just be like, oh, I have double Jack Raid in hand, play it. I'm now at 10 memory because like Gaio would be swinging and putting me to 5 or 4 or whatever. Insecurity as well. It's really good. I think 1 or 2 games this format, this event, just from security effect passing turn, and yeah, it puts me to 1 usually, but 1 is enough memory, especially if you have Jack Raid in hand to go with it. So this card is crazy. Do not play it less than 4. You can discard it if you see them early.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I had some
Sometimes
a
it is
lot.
the way how it is.
Because sometimes you'll have a hand of like rookie 4/5 werewolf and log and a Jack Raid, and you're like, well, Jack Raid is the worst card in this hand. Everything else is just set up for a combo later down the line, and you'll just draw into them.
Yeah.
I had one game where I ran into 0 Jack Raids, and I got like 60% through my deck. No Jack Raids. Didn't matter. Still looped him. I'm not entirely sure how. I just like kept summoning Mervas. He kept giving me 7 memory because I think I summoned a Merva, put him to 1. He like chaos degraded me, and I summoned another Merva.
Yeah.
He did it again.
We're in
Third
a bit
Merva.
of a cycle here.
Yeah. So
Let's say.
the other options we have 1 Deathslinger, incredible removal. It wasn't this event, but my favorite play I've ever done with this deck was at our PAX event, our last Ulti Cup that was in person, where I started the turn with 9 memory and with 1 memory and 9 in trash, and I got to 30 in trash and killed an Alphamon that had no protection, and it won. Yeah, Alpha Orican, the level 7. And killed it and won because he couldn't threaten lethal before I swung over Rookie next turn. That was by far my favorite play. This card is crazy. It's crazy in security. If you can get to 10, especially against like really dumb stuff like Grandis, if you can get to 20, you can get to 10 versus Melga. It just punishes people in security. I think this would probably be what I replace War with, just a second one of those, just so it's more likely in security.
I was
The
missing it a little
removal-
bit. I was sort of hoping for a second.
Yeah.
I think that's probably.
Especially when you're in a position where you sort of are praying, because Grandis is Grandis. You just can't do
that's
that
right.
much about it.
Sure.
So if you have the Slinger in security, you feel a lot more safe. But if you can't guarantee that sort of thing, then you sort of just lose.
We saw in the final today that the security options like really came up. Like Megadeth bot deck to Grandis's or Grankawagas
Yeah.
today,
Beat it.
and to give
Yeah,
Levi the win. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
important.
we're going to go into a tangent about Grandis. That's the only form of interaction is something you have 0 control over when you verse Grandis. So what a terrible deck design. And this is coming from someone who mechanically can. Like, mechanically, I can summon Merva, get 2 retail blockers, and then slam another one, and, like, I can technically play around it. But that's not reasonable for, like, this deck, let alone any other deck that doesn't have access to it. 90% of decks just can't do shit. Alright, I'm gonna keep going before we get...
What does little Timmy do against Grandis?
So,
Realistically, if they're going into...
Grandis just makes me so upset.
If they're going into...
Grandis was my only lost in Swiss as well. I just, like, couldn't do anything. He just opened the line twice.
Oh, yeah,
it felt really good.
We'll talk about shoutouts.
Deathclaw. This card's cracked. Floodgates are not as uncommon as I expected. There was a lot of purple, so seeing Gazis, seeing Cyclones as well now, you got to play around that. You know, Terrier and
Grandis.
Bloomlord. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a bunch of people who will just play stuff that just ruin your day. But you can sort of be dumb aggressive with it as well. You can use it just to pop a scatter that lives before it gets digivolved. You can pop it to... I a couple of times killed like a Greymon that was just on the field. Like, it's free value. If they leave a Grey X and they just don't know what purple does, they just die. So this card's cracked. I really enjoyed running it at 2. It actually saved me a couple of times in security as well, because they usually left their rookie to last to swing because they'd be checking multiple checks with a guy.
That's always the way, yeah.
Just hit the blocker system on.
Yeah.
Let me swing for game easily next turn instead of having to think.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just absolutely cracked utility. One of calling doesn't need any explanation. You just want to add stuff back. This is a toolbox
Make your
deck.
trash deck in second hand.
Yeah, this is a toolbox deck. Having access to your toolbox makes your life easier. Dead or Alive, basically access to Werewolf. It lets you discard Werewolves early without feeling bad, and then gives you an additional memory. If you go to 1, promotes play this and have analog, you just go to 3, so you can immediately access a Lilith.
Yeah.
So it's just really good breakpoints. Insecurity as well came up, summons a random wolf. Like, originally we were playing Lucamon, and it feels good getting a Lucamon off that card in security, but with just one of it wasn't consistent.
Christ, yeah.
And just getting any 5 off it is honestly kind of cracked, because you can just then... Like, if you bring a Serb back, it's just draw and discard, or something that you use with Claw, or you can Werewolf and combo off it. It gives you a lot of access to stuff that you really shouldn't have access to.
Or even if they check this in the security, out of nowhere, there's an extra body.
Yeah.
And they can.
If you're rushing them, it's just an extra swing. Like, it can be as simple as that. If that is what you're going for, you probably bring Werewolf back, just because 9k means it can't be popped by Metal Grey X.
I mean, and as well, if you know that it's in your security, you can set up for it, which is what I did against the deck.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, if you've gone through your entire deck.
I used Avenge Kit to put everything back.
Just to be sure, we're not encouraging cheating by knowing what's in your security.
Except if you're a master player.
Yeah.
That's just my life.
Double degrade. Double degrade.
Yeah. The right with the card is it only brings back level signs.
That happens. It didn't happen to me this event, thank God, but in testing it did come up where I'd be like, cool, I only have 3s and 4s.
It happens.
But the card is so broken, it's probably fine. That's the case. Then we've got one more option. We've got Purple Memory Boost. I wasn't sure if I was going to cut this. It was originally going to be the second slinger, but this came up a lot. Like, it in the top 16, my opponent... Oh, sorry, in the top 32, my opponent hit it in security, gave me memory from MERVA for game. Playing it off Lilith for 1 let me, like, you know, if I was Werewolf going the 3 evolve to Lilith and then playing this for 1, because you'd gain the 2 off Lilith, choking with this and then setting up, banking that extra memory for next turn. And even just with some subpar opening hands, you'd see this and you go, excellent, I'm just going to find the piece I'm missing, or I'm going to find a scatter or something. So I wouldn't cut this. I think this is incredible. It's a free discard as well later in the game if you draw it late. There's really no reason I would cut this. I think this is a fantastic ad.
Very good card. Very good.
Plus, in some of the situations you were saying earlier, like, it stops you from being choked. Like, just being able to get to that 3 is just so...
Yeah, well...
Having different memory breakpoints that we do have access to in this deck was really nice to have.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially with the MERVA, that stuff comes up a lot. Because getting to 7 can be quite difficult from nothing. It's not impossible. You can obviously loop and go Werewolf and stuff. But sometimes I would win a game just because my opponent would be like, you're at 2. And I'd be like, crack, Jack Raid, MERVA swing.
Yeah.
And, like, that stuff is a lot easier when you have this sitting, waiting... especially early game, it's just a Jack Raid before Jack Raid hits for 2 memory, because you haven't got 20 in trash yet. So lastly, we've got Analog Boy or Analog Youth.
This kid's cool.
Yeah, this card's cracked.
Cool
This could also be
He's cool.
It's not cool.
Original cool boy here.
so. This could also like the Zork could also be a fourth copy of this. Seeing this card just always felt really nice. In theory, Black or Grey should be popping this, so it's kind of sad to use it early, but that never happened to me in my 2 Black or Grey my 3 Black or Grey games today.
Kind of a little to me, but it was more just like it didn't matter at that point. Like I was already too far ahead.
But by the time they're doing it, usually you will have resolved it once, and that's most of the time all you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Like you don't need it the following turns because you get a lot more setup off the first instance of it.
Losing it does not feel that as rough as losing like other tamers. Like if Blackwall kills another Blackwall's cool boy, that Blackwall was the cool boy.
It's just because it has the on-play. The on-play is the most broken thing you could possibly ask for in this deck.
Yeah.
I got
100%.
Hades and it put me to 20 in trash. I was like, oh, you have no idea, mate.
You've just fucking unlocked my bed.
Like more often than not against Black or Grey, they give you what minimum 9, or rather minimum 4 or 5 memories anyway. So like that is just a luxury to have when you have, and then if they kill it doesn't matter because like you have enough memory to enable your loop.
Yeah, exactly. Once you've set up, you don't need this card on the field, and it's just so good at setting up, searching for missing pieces, and like playing this, revealing a scatter and then evolving scatter, or actually the thing that came up a lot, if you know your memory breakpoints for what your opponent's likely to do, making it so they're likely to put you to 1 when you promote your scatter and swing, and then you can just play this to pass turn because you can't play purple options, so you can't play memory boost, you can't play like claw or something. So you'd either be playing a rookie or playing this to pass turn at that point. So being able to put them to 1 with this is the best feeling. You just you want to
Opening Gabu,
try and do that.
Eyes, and analog is just like, I'm so good.
That is like the beginning parts of the best possible purple hand you could ask for.
100%. Alright, so as usual, 4 eggs, 50 cards. Anything particular amazing about matchups?
Tell us about the top 32 match.
Before
going to the top 8.
So day 1, I had I had a no-show round 1. really set me up.
Really?
It was
pretty
wonderful.
warmed up.
I can't even tell what he was going to play because he didn't put a list in. But so do we have the pairings? Okay.
Your next round was Secon.
Yeah, that was free. I did misplay, admittedly, or I would have just 2-0'd the guy. It's not like he misplayed. It's just Secon is such a free matchup if you know this deck well enough on how to get value out of your pieces. If you know how to best maneuver for value on swings, then you have infinite memory. You can wait forever because they're never going to try and kill you. They are literally trying to deck you out. So you have access to every card in your deck by design of theirs. You can't lose.
What about that game 3 though?
Shouldn't.
What about that game 3 though?
Anyway. Moving on. Then what was next? Jesmon. Yeah, Jesmon was interesting. I hadn't played against Jesmon in a while. So I sort of went to the point of, I'm going to play Merva and summon 2 retail blockers and pray you don't have an out. And they didn't. Whether they hadn't drawn whatever would let them out, or
Decoy Blanc in theory, but
yeah, like Decoy Blanc was fine. Like he never actually used that against me. The Bauhawk did come up. He popped 1, but then I just blocked with yellow, so he couldn't do anything about it. That matchup was fine. Death came up a bunch.
Death is pretty good in that.
You he was. I can't really tell. Again, don't have the experience, but I think he was like slow because he was searching for pieces more than he was actually playing. So I had a lot of time to set up.
that's the Just One experience.
Yeah.
So I can't really rate how good the matchup is off of that one match, but it felt like I was in control most of the time. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, generally just one like when they're going for the turn to bring you down to no security, they give you like 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's also another
They
thing.
go
Is
to
they
GX.
leave you at
Yeah,
0,
yeah.
so you have the turn to clap back, and usually that's all Loop needs. So moving on, we had Grandis. That was my only loss. I think the guy also top 32. He just did Grandis things. Like I couldn't really react because he would just tap everything and swing for game. There was like no interaction there. No slingers in security. I think I did hit a Jack raid, but it didn't pass turn. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. I then versed the Merva Mirror. He was playing, I think, Minerva Loop. maybe MERVA Rush. It's kind of hard to tell. There's like 40 of the same cards in every purple deck.
Every purple deck is special in its own way.
Yeah.
But ours is better.
You want to argue that?
There was
We'll find out in part 2.
the matchup was really just trying to like he would MERVA, I'd MERVA, he'd MERVA, I'd MERVA, but with like little bits of removal in between as well. So it was just trying to get the most value out of our removal spells without letting your opponent set up for lethal. It was just a back and forth. I think that was 3 games. He took a game off me, but I ended up taking off 2. First and third. So there's not much to say. I didn't come into this tournament expecting any purple. I just expected black or grey and Grandis. So seeing so much purple, because all you guys saw purple all day as well. There was a lot of Minerva loops, there was MERVA rushes.
Zero for me though.
Half a one, yeah. Hey.
Masse doesn't really count. Masse doesn't play scatter.
It's like its own.
To be a real purple deck, you have to play scatter.
You heard it here.
Yep.
Even Beastar does, so yeah.
Then we had black or grey. That was just black or grey is sort of like a free win. It's like 70% win rate or something. You can just aggro them down while they're setting up, unless they get the perfect Gaio line with security plus, trashing security, and then like swinging with Omni X for game. Unless they get that perfect line immediately, you have time to set up. You have time to like choke them out and like punch them in the face a couple of times to get them down to 2 or 3, which makes it really easy to then loop Cerberus, Werewolf, Lilith, add back Jack Rage, MERVA, swing with 3 for the game. So that was sort of just the strategy. You can also set up MERVA defensively, like we said before. There was not really much to say there. Hades forced me 1 game to kill the MERVA and swing for game. Can't do anything about that. That was that round, I guess. Then Tide vs Cross Heart tried really hard to to like get that one in time, but unfortunately couldn't get he ended up playing his own MERVA with a couple of Dorals that killed a little bit of my board, and I was like 1 swing off when time was called. So I it was unfortunate. I think I would have won that round if I hadn't thrown game 1 as hard. That was the one where I dropped eyes with no scatter, and I I swung a Serb for no reason and all that sort of stuff. I was just tired and playing poorly, and that's the problem with this deck. Honestly, is you can get to the end of the day. Yeah, the deck is phenomenal. The deck is consistent, it has draw power, it has options, it has pathways, it has removal, it has everything you could possibly want, except for it also makes you extremely tired because you're playing it, you have to think so far ahead, and you have to think so many moves at once, and you can't slow play it because you'll get warnings and eventually a game loss. So you have to be making consistent actions while trying to think of how can I best optimize this turn. So optimally, I threw that game, then we ended up drawing. So I was X1-1 at that point. Luckily, round 8, I versed Machine Digimon. He opened pretty poorly, and I just rookie rushed him. I just summoned a bunch of guys. They lived a couple of checks, so I got to swing them again because he was still trying to set up any board. And I think he ended up giving me 7 memory on like game 2 to like play a Machine Dra just out of desperation. I went okay, and I just swung and then summoned them over and swing for game. So it's yeah, I don't know. I think he got a bit unlucky because testing against Alex, the Machine Dramon matchup was not pleasant. If you can get the Machine Dra and the analogs out in time, there's not a whole lot I can do. We have no Tamer removal, we have no like good Digimon removal, and the only one we can remove is the one that then floats into another and gains memory.
That's kind of Purple's problem into the Machine Dra. Like, it's only got deletion as removal, not bouncing or decking or whatever.
Yeah.
Can you have multiple
Or degrading.
Great.
I think
Again, that's a master card. Master's not
I think I did the summon MERVA, summon Ignite, swing Ignite, pop Lilith, pop his Machine Dra as well in that game before I killed him because I didn't need the additional swing and clearing his 6 was just safer. That play comes up a lot. That's one of my favorite plays. Ignite and MERVA are just broken cards. So that was day 1, and then day 2 this morning. I versed another local of mine, Dylan, in round 1. He was playing black or grey, and it was 2-0. It was a very typical game for me. It was just punch him in the face, then combo while he's still trying to set up and find his pieces.
He said you bait him in like turn 4.
Yeah, yeah. It was ridiculously fast just because I had like 20 in trash by that point, and Jack Raids and Merva. Like, you just get to do whatever you want. I think I had 3 Jack Raids. I think I gained 6 memory and played the Merva on 8. So yeah, that was a free matchup. I think I did the Ignite to him as well. Like someone Ignite, pop his Gaio that was immune to options, but it's on option, and he didn't have an X Annie, so he died.
You have to fly to Melbourne just to see him again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see him tomorrow.
See him on Monday locals.
Then next round, I versed Maste. The Maste player bricked twice.
Llewellyn rip.
Very quickly. He did hit a Chaos Degrade in security, so I was lucky. It didn't stop me from winning, but it tried. And then I lost ultimately in top 8 to Joseph Rees. He was playing Black or Grey, where I opened the 3 worst hands I've had with this deck ever in a row. It was 4 options in the Sword, and I did nothing, and he killed me. It was then 4 options in the Cerberus, like the one that draws and discards, and I actually ended up winning that game because he had nothing but 3s and 4s. So he made a wide board. I ended up drawing an Ignite. I played the Ignite. Killed killed the 4 with the Cerberus. He swung the other, it died, and as he was setting up, I just happened to draw into a line, and I could just make plays from that point on. So that was game 2, and game 3 I opened Zwart, double Lilith, double Werewolf, and the feeling I had was so sad until I realized I'd won 2 jackets, so it didn't matter. So yeah, that was my matchups, and obviously Joseph went on to come 3rd.
Yeah, congrats to him.
Yeah, congrats to him. Congrats to Levi for coming 1st as well.
And
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of New South Wales guys. I think Levi's Newcastle apparently, so he doesn't count as a Sydney boy. we had a quarter of the top 8 at least.
Used to be.
Good enough. I'll take it.
Yeah. All right. So, any shout-outs for the day or any highlights of the trip?
So, thank you, everyone here. Everyone
Yay.
here. We did a lot of testing, especially like we said, we picked this deck up 4 days ago. So we were, especially props to Declan. I said it to him as a joke, and he was like, "I've been testing it; it actually works really well."
That's how a lot of your things start. Like, hey, Declan, this is a funny joke. You're like, no way.
Hang on.
I picked it up Thursday.
Hold up. Let him cook.
So he was doing a lot of the early testing that found out it was actually viable, and he fed me a lot of information that came up today. And I really appreciate the time and effort that everyone put into the playtesting. We've been, Mark printed out proxies. We're doing testing for BT11 months ago, and a lot of that was as Black or Grey. But
we finished the match Black or Grey.
Black. I'm glad I didn't play Black or Grey, not because I don't think I would have done this well, but just because I wouldn't have had fun.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think we've said it a lot, but playing something that you think is fun is going to get you better results than something you think is the best.
We jump ship.
Yeah. So we've also got a big shout outs to Tessero.
Yeah.
So
100%.
early in the format, I sent him a list that was a lot more traditional than this list ended up being. Being like, this is really good in the Black or Grey, but that was too slow into everything else in the format.
Yeah.
And he came back, 5 days ago or something, and he sent me a list and went like, oh hey, this more aggressive variant is doing really well. It's a lot more defensive. And he was right.
So this is after you went
give me the
X2 at locals. I went X3 at locals. And we were
Anton went X2 as well. Yeah, we all did terribly won locals with Black or Grey, and we went absolutely not.
Yeah.
We picked the list up, made a couple of changes from his list, and I think his list that he ended up playing in Nationals, I'm sure he'll do a video on it if he does well. He was doing okay when I spoke to him this morning. But if he makes a video on it, it was like a lot more combo version, much like Ari's video, Ari's list. Sorry.
Sorry, his video. That's after.
Yeah. And make sure to watch Ari's video.
Shout out to.
Actually, to advertise that his list is a lot more interesting and it has a lot more depth for the actual combo plays.
Ooh.
This is versatile in how you can do things and what you can do, but his is like, I am now in a position to do anything. I am God. Once you get there, so I think honestly, your list is probably more fun But this,
100%.
this
I played
worked.
that. I want to win a box with this.
Yeah.
No,
that's
so
Ari's
with
list.
Ari's list, right?
With Ari's,
Yeah.
sorry, with Ari's list after
Yeah,
playing
it's
this in the
pretty
main
fun.
event.
Yeah.
and
I just stole the game. That's all.
I think
It's like testing.
I think you could pick either list up and do well. I personally prefer this just because it's more traditional loot. But I will be playing his list to try it out. What else? So, shout outs to Huang and Zero. They were really good for helping us get a lot of information. Yeah, we'll get
Always.
We always get Larry.
so shout outs to them from the YouTube channel Huang Zero.
Yeah.
Because they fed me a lot of information about what they were testing and techs.
Just nice people. Just
Honestly,
nice people.
and super knowledgeable. Check out Huang's YouTube channel as well.
Or join the Discord and talk to Will
And
here.
yeah, we all a lot of us hang out in the Discord. I think I'm the most frequent, but the others pop in from time to time.
Yep.
Who else? Yeah, Larry runs Game Traders Hornsby. If you're in the area, you should check it out. We play
So
every
local.
Saturday. Saturday at 11.
11:30. 12.
When you idiots get up and get there.
I usually wake up about 11 to get there by 12. But no, yeah, he's super chill. He gets us all our product, and he made sure we got all the cards we needed for this event in time. So, absolutely love him. Been going there for over a decade now, I think.
Yeah.
So
Fuck, it's been that long.
It has. Yeah.
Oh, started Pokemon for me.
Did you actually?
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sorry. Why would I ever question it?
Yeah, we'll do Pokemon once he does good.
Thank you.
Shout out to Dylan and Will Mac. They also both topped, and Chatswood. So we see them every Monday. If you're in the area for that, check that out. Have I forgotten anyone? I feel like I've forgotten someone. Shout out to Atlas. Can you insert a photo of Atlas?
Fuck yeah, we're getting a filter of Atlas in here.
I kind of wanted to wait until we got home so I could actually have Atlas with us, but
True.
unfortunately, I'm too excitable.
100%.
Shout out to Bluey.
Yeah.
Definitely is obsessed with this character that I found out is a girl. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I thought it was a
Bluey's
dude.
a girl.
I just assumed.
You're using its
I didn't know
Sex-
that.
So the
But
sexist
no,
pigs.
I just didn't know.
So it's
It's just like Blue's Clues.
That one's a lot more obvious.
Yeah.
Is anyone? Have I forgotten? Shout out to you. Congrats on top 16.
Hey.
And
Ed.
thank you, Tac Games, for running the event today.
Yeah, good on you, Kip.
Ran really smoothly, yeah.
Yeah,
They
it was
went
super
really
smooth.
Super clean.
What's that? My best coast game?
Best Coast pairings.
So smooth.
That was honestly
Honestly, decent.
weird, but way better than Bandai's.
This is
app.
why America uses that app.
Yeah.
Also, for my political opinions, ban Grandis, ban Melga, ban Black or Grey, and please add Mulligans next year.
Great.
Yay! And we